Welcome back to the Stage Brief for Stage 35. I'm your host, Josh Morgan. I've got Dave and Tom with me tonight. This episode is brought to you by Athena Precision. Use code DOUBLETAP for 15% off. On tonight's Course of Fire, we've got the purpose of the USPSA classification system and the price increases we're seeing at major matches across the country. So, without further ado, the classification system was recently revamped in the spring of 2025. It's had a couple of revamps and iterations throughout its lifespan. And so a common question keeps popping up about what is the purpose of the classification system? What is its intent? On a practical level, it divides shooters based on skill set, so they can both milestone their progress and also track how they're competing against people in a similar skill bracket. But is it important? Is it something we should be paying attention to? There's a lot of emotions surrounding the classification system, a lot of heartbreak when we don't make the classification we're shooting for. There's a lot of effort and training going into making it the next classification. The focus is on the class, not the skill development, at least in the way it's communicated. And so that it sort of bears a few questions. So we were talking about it today, over the last week or so. And so we wanted
today and the last week.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing conversation.
Ongoing conversation. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so we wanted to bring that
First
conversation
I'm hearing
to you
of it,
guys.
though. So I guess I'm out of loop.
So Tom, I'll let you go first because you've been through the whole ranking system all the way up to A. Tell me.
That's not the whole ranking system, Josh.
Well,
this is another one of your digs.
Think about it hard enough, so you're there.
You could be a GM if you cheat. Plenty of people. Cheat to make GM.
I love that you're like, I've been through the ranking system and stopped at A when you're at M class, and Dave's a GM.
Well, of the three of us, your classification journey has had a larger emphasis on class than Dave's due to its time.
Well, Dave made GM in like 2 classifiers.
Exactly. So I'm curious to hear your perspective on the classification system and what you've experienced and what you think its role should be.
What do I think its role should be? Well, I think for people like me who are not going to win majors, and I mean, I guess you could win first A class. I think that's a thing, right? But like first B class and first C class isn't really a thing.
No,
I believe they're all a thing. Yeah.
Oh, they're all a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have quite a few C class trophies.
Oh, good for you. Okay. Well, then I don't know what to say about that. I think it's for me now. It's more like a comparison. Like I mean, in our area, I shoot enough matches now that I know who is what class for the most part, so I know who I'm competing against. But also when I started, I would look at people who were higher classification and like try to watch them shoot, try to squad with them, try to learn from them, things like that. So in that sense, if you're trying to get better, it's very helpful to see what's out there. In the beginning, I will also say like I started at C class, and then like making B class was a big deal, making A class was a big deal. And now it's a little bit different. I mean, I want to make M class. That is a goal. At the same time, like I think I've said it before, like I want the skill set. Like if I have this skill set, if I'm competing with people who are M class and I'm still A class, but I have the skill set of M class, I just don't have the letter. Like to me, that's fine. I think it was hard. And you're talking about the heartbreak. Like, you know, Dave started M and then went GM, and I know you are also. I mean, you started at C, but like to see like what you have to do to make M, like it's just tough. Like I was at the range today, and we like quickly shot pistol, and like I did a bill drill, which I never. I mean, that's not really what I'm good at, and like it was bad. It was bad. I mean, I didn't spend like that much time on it, but it was just bad. I'm not a fast drawer. My gun is so heavy, I don't even think I can get it out in under a second and shoot the fucking thing.
Might be
It's
time.
true.
Might be time to go to the gym just a couple times if we're saying our
If we're at that
Shadow 2
point.
is too heavy.
Dude, it's just. I mean, when I was shooting the polymer gun, I could just take like it was much easier. Now it weighs like 20 pounds. I have these weak, limp wrists. Just the gun just shoots itself, and I just like hang on for the ride. You know what I mean? So like I'm saying that because I like classifiers are stand and shoot. So you need a fast draw. I don't scoop draw. I don't know. So it's tough because I know like the new classifiers, people were complaining that they were just like short courses and it's just shooting and moving, and people like the classic of like, can you draw fast? Can you reload fast? Like standing still? Can you? And everything is good skill. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. I think it means more when you're lower class. I don't know what you think, Josh, because I know Dave, you just skipped it, but like going from C to B to A, like it means a lot. I feel like people when they hit, I'm just making assumptions, but when you hit like M and G, I don't know. It just like you're not. I don't know if you're interested in that anymore. But I haven't been there. I'm like I said, I want to make M, but I'm not gonna just try to make M. I would like to get better, and if I make M as a result, I'll be happy. But I don't want to chase classifiers just to make M. I did that with, well, I guess I was really into it when I made B class, and then with A, I was chasing it and like making sure okay, if this isn't going well, I'm going to zero the stage, which I didn't like that, but it was just how it worked. But now I look at it differently. I know I just like ranted. I don't think I made any sense, but oh well.
No, that's all right. That made sense to me because I can resonate with that experience of like when I was in the lower classes, I chased the classification aggressively. Like even up to M class, like I chased my M card in production, like to the fullest extent possible. And when I got it, looking back on it, I wasted a lot of time with the emphasis on how do I get to the next class, not how do I become a better shooter. And not necessarily a better shooter, but how do I become a better competitor.
You got a better you got to be a better shooter. Like it's not you can't really make M class by mistake, especially now, or any class by mistake now.
Yeah, I don't
maybe
necessarily know
C-class,
if it was a mistake, but it was something that for me, the mental focus was how do I make M? When I was training, it was like, what does it take to make M? It wasn't what skill sets do I need to compete in a match? What skill sets are going to make me a better competitor? What skill sets are going to make me a more well-rounded, consistent shooter? It was how do I push to get to this arbitrary skill threshold? And I think that's, looking back on it, I don't think that's a wise path to take. I think if the emphasis is on the skills, on what it takes to be a good competitor, the classification will follow. And that was the mentality I had in C class, and that's what caused me to go through B very quickly and cement myself in high A very rapidly. But it probably delayed my development from A to M because I was pursuing the wrong things. And my match performance was probably not what it could have been because my training was focused in the wrong areas.
Well, what were you doing then? Just practicing draws and reload, or?
Yeah, so I was chasing the parlor tricks, right? Like how do I shave a quarter second off my draw? How do I split harder? What load and recoil spring allows me to shoot predictively inside of 10 yards? Like those things are not beneficial in a match environment. But in the mind of A-class Josh, that was what it was going to take for me to make M. And now that I've made M, and now that I've made M in multiple divisions, and the skill sets have translated, like that's time spent could have been better utilized. I didn't have to chase the quarter second off the draw. I had to understand that dropping Charlies and Deltas was detrimental. I didn't have to chase the difference between a 0.3 split and a 0.2 split. That didn't matter. What I had to chase was how to interpret sight pictures at speed. Skills that translate well in classifiers that are also very, very important in match performance would have been more beneficial to me as a shooter.
I mean, that makes sense. Dave, I'm curious, like, when you initially, like, got into USPSA and you shot your first classifiers, like your very first one, maybe second one, the first three, let's say, like, were you, like, what did you think? Like, what, I don't know what you got, obviously. I don't know if you remember, but, like, do you feel like, oh, shit, like, I'm actually really high up? Or you felt like, no, this is, like, did you think it was going to be harder? Or obviously you didn't just, like, walk into USPSA with no skill. There was a lot of skill there already. But, like, yeah, what was that like to just, like, drop in and be like, yeah, I ran an A class, M class, GM? I don't know what it was, your first couple were, but.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my first two were righty tighty and lefty loosey at Anilani. I'm pretty sure those were my first two, and they ended up like being A class runs. Because most of my experience until then, especially working inside and then practicing all inside, was very much like stand and shoot oriented, and those two have a decent bit of movement to them. Yeah. I'm trying to think. For my first, after that was mostly stand and shoots, but the first two, I was definitely okay. This is harder than I thought it would be.
Okay. Yeah, because those. Okay, so like A class was like, all right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that was my first experience with strong hand weekend too. Like I was so new to the sport, I had just barely started shooting. I think I shot my first match in June, and we got into like a little bit of like hit factor style matches maybe in like late spring. So maybe I was a month or two into actually doing this. And then like the earlier indoor matches we were shooting were nothing like an actual USPSA stage. So that was like my first taste of actually just being outside, my first match ever, and then I think my first time introduced to strong hand weekend.
Right, that's the one where you shoot three, and then the last three have to be strong hand, or the last three have to be weak hand.
Whichever last three targets have to be the prescribed hand.
So do you remember what you got? I mean, I know we could look at your classification record if you really
I want
to
say there was like a B and an A, one of the two, I think.
Really?
Because one of them I had to make a makeup, and it wasted some time.
So did you initially classify as A class then? And I'm just forgetting that?
I want to say, yeah, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I was A for a couple weeks.
Okay, all right.
My first four probably brought me to
A. Okay.
I was A for a few weeks.
I remember A class. I woke up and I
didn't know what I was doing though.
I know, but that's crazy. Like you didn't know what you were doing, and you're A class, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm A class. You know what I mean? Like it's like God.
Yeah, I remember my first match. I didn't even know who was there. I remember texting Josh afterwards. I think I was like fifth or something in carry optics behind like Hempel, Sandelsky, like that whole like I think it was last year. Last year I had like that Anilani super squad that was there every time, and I was just behind those guys. So I was like, all right, this is reasonable for me to do good at this. But after that, like you guys were talking about, it was a lot of stand and shoot practice because like everything you hear is like classification matters. At least when you jump into this, everyone's very classification focused. And like I said, most of my practice was stand and shoot. Like I got really good at a scoop draw. I got really good at the like, not nearly as good as I am now, but for what I felt like at the time was really good, like the visual aspect of making sure I shoot a lot of alphas. And the biggest one I was always saying is if I'm not on time, if I don't shoot the time, I'm never going to get the GM run anyway if I'm off pace. So my focus originally was making sure I was on pace, and then hits will catch up. Yeah. But it doesn't matter if you shoot all alphas 10 seconds off pace, like you're not going to get the GM run. Like you have to be on pace first. Like that was my priority, was being on pace. And then most of the time I just had enough vision or just enough discipline and probably just got lucky a couple times that the hits were there.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Get your eyes and brain used to it. Yeah.
So now, I mean, all the way back to our original question, I think the classification is just, the system is just maybe not being abused is the wrong term, but the top end of the classification system is being used for mostly publicity and hey, look at me type stuff.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily wrong. If you make GM, like you have a certain skill set, and if other people want to get and if you want to teach, or if you want to brag about it, I guess you can. But if you want to teach, like, that's like a good thing on your resume.
Yeah, like a couple months ago, I was very much against your instructor. Not very much against, but like major match performance or even just local match performance needs to be considered if you're going to start posting, hey, I'm GM. Me and Josh had a conversation recently about a guy that made classification. He shot like 50-something classifiers this year at all classifier matches, finally made GM. Like, the skill set's obviously there to shoot the stand-in shoots, but then to come in, I think Josh beat him with iron sights. He beat a dot shooter with iron sights at a major match. Like, and then...
Yeah, it's not the same.
we're not going to name names,
Yeah.
but a Midwestern guy where the talent is like the top, and then there's a 40% gap or a 30% gap. It's not the same skill set.
Well, classifiers are the skill set. I think, like Josh, you said, I think the skills that you get from classifiers you can apply to matches, but there's also additional.
The more I shoot matches, the more I'm focused on being competitive at matches. I would say the skills don't transfer as much. Some of it, yes, like visual discipline,
I was gonna say,
transition, stuff like that.
Yeah, that.
But if me doing stand-in shoots now, I almost dread stand-in shoots because I don't practice them anymore.
Yes.
But
They're the worst.
field course all day, like the stuff that like the whole group's consciously working on to get really good at winning matches is not nearly the skill set that is important on classifiers.
Well, I think, besides, like, I mean, if you need a scoop draw, you need a scoop draw for a certain stage. Like, that
You
could
don't
be
need
benefit.
I thought the scoop draw was the end-all, be-all to shave time. It's not. Just get good at a normal draw.
All right. Okay.
Unless you're doing trick stuff on Instagram.
Gotcha. But, I mean, that's what I meant. Like, the transition, be able to shoot alphas very, very quickly and transition very, very quickly. And, reloading is... You lose a lot of time on you can lose a lot of time reloading even in a stage. I think those are the skill. But I agree, like you don't get movement.
And it's just the risk you're willing to accept on a classifier is so much more than you would in a match. Like in the marathon of a match,
that's true.
The risk you're looking at accepting is so much lower when you're trying to perform over the course of, at a major, say, 15-ish stages, versus just letting it absolutely eat on tight no shoots at 7 yards because you're trying to shoot a GM run. It's a totally different mindset.
Well, maybe not now, though, because you can't zero hero it.
Now, that actually... it's not changing.
Yeah, because the GM threshold is so much higher. Like, you brought this up, and so we'll talk about it, but the classifier match we recently shot at Guardian, I laid up on El Prez, just as an example, and it was an 88% run. And I was like, okay, like that's the pace I would have shot that. And then we went to Roscoe Rattle and shot that at a match pace, and it was a 96% run. So they're good scores, but the threshold right now is 110% in the USPSA classification system.
Explain that.
So there's the high hit factor, which is the top number that everybody uses to score the classifier. But there is a 10% gap on top of that you're capable of earning that applies to your score. So the max score you can get on a classifier is 110%. So that means at a match pace, I was still 12 to 22% off of the max for what that stage could have been.
Oh, so people are still going like nuts, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. To shoot 100% on these classifiers, you still have to be far beyond what you would shoot in a match.
I get doing that once,
they're not
but
shooting comfortable 110%.
But to do it 6 times?
The only comfortable 100 plus I've had was that one at Southern Chester, Josh. I believe it was times 2.
Yep.
Yeah, that was I shot a 104 on that almost, and that was the only comfortable. Like, wow, that was an easy 104, very smooth. You had to run box to box and shoot 3 targets in each box. Everything else, I almost make the comment, Josh, every time. It's like, if you don't come off a class, like El Prez, for example, if you don't feel like you just shot better than you've ever shot before and had the hits, it's not going to be good. You can't say, well, that was easier, that was comfortable, or that was smooth. Like, a smooth run in El Prez is like an 80.
Yeah.
Like, even if you feel like you turned around like at a comfortable pace, you're off pace. Like, you got to whip around with the gun out, throw 2 alphas on everything, and reload and throw 2 alphas on anything, almost beyond the speed you can see it to shoot a GM run on El Prez.
And nobody's doing that in a match. And that was the problem that we saw.
On match stages, yeah.
And that was a problem we saw exemplified in the 23 series when it was initially released, is they took Nationals stage results. They took 2 stages from Nationals, they put them into the classification system, and they used the stage winners at Nationals to determine high hit factor. Well, what they found out is people fundamentally shoot classifiers differently. That's why the 23 series, for their first 6 months in iteration, were free GM runs for people.
Oh, yeah, the other way around, yeah.
Because when you take how people perform in matches and you apply that same math to how people shoot classifiers, it doesn't work.
Yeah, because people were taking their time at Nationals so they don't zero a stage at Nationals. They were laying up, and the data showed lesser, or this I don't know what to call it. It's almost a chaotic way people shoot to try and shoot 110% runs. Yeah, erratic, risky, intense, whatever it is.
Yeah.
People are trying to push beyond what they've ever shot before to shoot a good run on a classifier.
And you can practice it. Like, if you really want to, you just set it up, and then, like, you could get better at it just because your body knows where everything is, what's going on. I thought you were talking about I think it's the 24 series, right? That was like unreachable.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 24 series was unreachable because we took theoretical numbers and we wanted to avoid the mistakes of the 23 series.
Right,
We overcorrected.
For me, the 23 series was fairly eye-opening because it was the first time where the gap between classifier performance and match performance was like directly in my face. Like, I knew it, I felt it, like I knew I didn't shoot classifiers the way I shot matches, but to see that told me that like everybody's doing this. And I know that in my own circle, but your own circle can be misleading if you have the wrong friends. So to see that on a national scale tells me that the classification system is not creating results that are in line with major match performance. And I think that is okay. I think that's fine. But I think we need to revalue I think we need to relook at how we value classification because it doesn't correlate. Anytime you have a system like this where you're able to earn a rank or earn a title outside of the matches that we're all striving for, at least the people at the top of the game, those matches are what matter. It's not the classification. People winning major matches in A class, it doesn't matter. People winning major matches as GMs or Ms, it doesn't matter. Like, the class is irrelevant here. The focus should be on the performance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's also, like, if you go to Nationals and you shoot open, Race Gun Nationals, just to take an example, and Christian Seiler wins the match, obviously. But if you shoot 80% of Christian Seiler and you're a GM, I don't think that that's a failure. Like, you can't have all the GMs who shoot that match end up at 95% or higher. So it also is like distorted in that way. Like, I don't know if you would agree, but like, if you shoot, sure, you'd want to do more, but like an 80% run against Christian Seiler.
I want to see what 80% puts you at.
So, yeah, and I can understand that.
I'm just using that as I'm just saying, like, 85%, whatever, but like
80% puts you at 36.
Yeah, so I mean, that's not bad. 36 in the country in open or whatever division. Like, that's really good.
I think for Nationals to be a success at a GM, you got to be top 20 at minimum.
But why? To be a successful GM? Then that's what I mean. Then the classification and the match performance at Nationals doesn't. That's why I think
I got everyone can't shoot 95. I'm not saying I'm someone that can stroll up and shoot top 20 at Handgun Nationals, but even give yourself 10% off your classification to 85%. Where did I just put my tab?
Or you make, I think we've talked about this before, you make another ranking system based off Nationals. Like, Christian Seiler's a GM and he gets a little 1 next to his name or whatever.
So that was just a stab of the dark, but top 20 was 84.64, so almost right at that cutoff.
Yeah, so there you go.
And were they all GMs?
Probably
I would
a couple of M's in there.
I would guess not.
Out of the 20, 20 was a B class, but
Shit.
So again, like,
1, 2,
like
3,
people
4,
shoot matches
5.
differently.
There was five M's, the rest were G's, and then the one B at 20. But who knows why he's B class? He might have just.
He must have been.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's sandbagging.
I am firmly of the opinion that a consistent high-level B will beat an erratic low-level M in a major match over 30 stages.
I don't think so.
If you're a B-class guy and you shoot 65% on every single stage, I think you'll be better off than a low-level M that peaks between 80 and 40.
Dude, you're not shooting. Okay, sure.
I've shot 40% at majors.
Erratic, but...
Like I had 0 to stage at Western PA. Like it happens.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
Handgun
it
Nationals
happens.
2024.
I did 0 stage in Handgun Nationals. Thanks for bringing that back up, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome.
Never give up, pal.
Never give up, baby.
Like an ELO, like I think it's tennis, and I forget what they go up to, but tennis is like an ongoing ranking system. I think week to week, major to major.
I think it's 5 million they go up to.
Yeah, 5 million. Everybody gets a rank. No, I think it's like 500 or maybe 1,000 or something. But like that. Like do a top 200, you get a number next to your name, or you get a top 100, you get a number next to your name, and it resets every year. You know, I don't know, like that, or an ELO rating, but because that means that you have to shoot majors to get that ELO rating. If you're a GM and you don't shoot majors, okay, you're a GM, but where's your ELO kind of deal? So.
Even if you're a GM not shooting majors and you're just shooting locals, you should be top 3 at locals, unless you're in a really GM saturated area. But
yeah, sure.
There needs to go, Josh. You seem like you really want to say it.
GMs not shooting majors bothers me. Not just on the you have a skill set, you need to express it, but also like if you are advertising yourself as a USPSA Grandmaster.
That's different.
If you're even if it's just in your Instagram bio, right?
No, dude.
You
Yeah,
if you
have
should be
a
shooting
account,
majors.
You're advertising yourself as one of the best, numbers-wise, one of the best shooters
If
in
you
the
just
country.
say you're a GM and you don't shoot majors anymore, like whatever.
Anymore is fine. As long as you have a track record of competing as a GM, that's fine. And competing decently.
If you made it off locals and you can't make it to your state or sectional, I'm not really interested in what you have to say.
Okay. I don't know. That's sure. Yeah,
What do you
I think
mean
we're
by
talking
that,
about two
Josh?
different things. Yeah.
What do you mean if you made it off locals? If you just shot it off
Like-
classifiers at locals?
Yeah, like if you made your GM off of classifier matches, and
I mean, how
you
else-
are not shooting major matches,
Okay.
and you are not planning on shooting major matches,
Okay.
what you have to say in regards to the sport is probably not going to be impactful
Okay.
or borderline correct
That's fine.
because you don't have the experience as a competitor.
Right. Deal.
Yeah,
I'm with
of
you.
course. If you're just shooting all classifier matches, correct. Yeah, I mean, you might as well shoot
I
Steel
didn't think
Challenge.
that take was that controversial.
It wasn't. Once you explained it. It was
No,
fine.
yeah, it didn't. It sounded different. Yeah, but I think things happen. Things happen. You make GM and you can't make majors. Like life stuff. I mean, happens. Like nobody's making money really off of this.
Of course.
Very
I think
few.
he's more narrowing it down to people that are attempting to make money or advertise themselves as
Right.
something.
Right.
Like people that shoot classifier matches during Handgun Nationals instead of going to Handgun Nationals.
So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the major match performance versus the classification system is clearly different. I think it's fair to say the major match performance matters more. Dave, would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%. I was a little wishy-washy on this earlier. I'll use it. Tony Mazza is a big proponent of this, of post your practice score results. And I was a little against it before. I don't even remember why, but now it just makes a lot of sense. The more me and Josh start to teach, or the more we listen to what other people have to say or just hear it, if you can't back it up with your actual performance when it's time to perform, I don't think you have as much credibility as you think you do.
Yeah, or even not necessarily credibility, just raw experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was taking people's money in B class, I would probably be telling them the wrong things.
And it depends on what you're teaching too. If you're like, I know the word like performance pistol is tossed around all the time, but it depends what's inside of the performance pistol. That one's not even targeting anybody, Tom. That's just every instructor I've ever seen across the country this in 2025 has performance pistol class. But if it's more like a Tactibro one, or it's like one of the hybrid ones, that's fine. Do whatever you want to do, especially if you have that background. But if it's purely competitive based and you have no track record of being able to compete at a competitive level, and if you have a G or an M next to your name, you should be in the top percentage, especially at level 2's local to area. You should be in the top 10 probably. And say if you're not in the top 10, I would say you either, if you had a bad match, whatever, but if you're consistently not in the top 10, I don't know that you know how to compete at a high level. And I don't know you should be teaching other people your methods of competing at a high level if you yourself can't get yourself to compete at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, I would wonder also if you go full-time as a trainer, you got less time to compete maybe, but that's just speculation.
Yeah, but at the same time, I hate that excuse, because if you're not updating what you're doing and you're not understanding what's like developing in the sport and what's working and what's not working just because you say you don't have time, how are you given the best information possible?
Sure.
Especially the higher level, not even the higher level, the bigger follower count instructors that use that excuse, I can't go to matches because I'm teaching more. Like, when's the last time you updated what you're teaching? Like, when's the last time you took a class from somebody that is winning nationals? Or, like, when's the last time a famous Instagram instructor has taken a class? We'll use Brantley Merriam, who's very consistently in the top 3 at everything. Like, when are you updating your curriculum with stuff that's actually working versus stuff that you think works on paper, but then you show up and it doesn't prove anything. There's no proof of concept of what you're teaching. So that's where I think the classification system is being abused. As soon as someone gets, I mean, around here, as soon as someone gets an A next to the name they're teaching, but as soon as someone gets a G or just an M class, it's like, all right, I'm going to teach now, but there's no track record of performance. If you're teaching performance pistol, there should be a track record of performance.
Yeah, I think also it depends what you like. Could I teach somebody else? Yes, but I would also tell them, like, I can teach you up to where I'm at. You're not gonna, that's that. You might want to go when you get to my, like, close to my level. I would move. You go somewhere else.
You have to. It's all about how you advertise it. If you advertise it openly we're going to take your shooting skill to the next level. That's leaving it open.
Maybe.
That's leaving it open to someone like me or someone like Josh to show up to your class, and you're going to take me to the next level. And if you're consistently shooting 20% below me, what are you teaching me? That's going to take me to the next level.
I think the difference, at least when I'm looking at classes, is like who is teaching the hard skill set of shooting versus who is trying to teach the mental and conceptual application of competing. Mm-hmm. Like, if the class is focused on how to shoot better, that's fine. Like, there's a lot of people
can teach that well.
Absolutely. But when we start talking about things like hit factor, things like even confirmation levels, if they're not correctly defined, if they're not appropriately taught, like, there is a chance you're teaching the wrong things if it's not validated by match performance.
You know what else on the bottom me while we're on this? Is if you are chasing some, I don't know, some classification level. Say you're going for M, or you just made M, or you just made GM, and you're teaching a class, and your buddy is videoing 20 demos of you in the middle of the class, you're doing too much. You're not there to perform in front of people to make yourself feel good. You're there to teach them how to shoot.
There's a marketing component, I guess. I don't know what you're talking about, but there's a marketing component.
If you go through and look at a lot of the real good shooters in the country that are teaching, they're not doing 30 demos per day and letting people... The reality is, if a C-class shooter shows up to a class, and even you, Tom, if you rip a build drill, a reasonably quick build drill in front of a C-class shooter, they're going to think you're a god.
Yes, that's what I need.
Over-demoing, it's just such a pet peeve.
I got you. Okay.
If you're using the people that already paid you $300 for the day to stroke your ego just because you can reload real quickly in front of them in a closed environment, you're not doing it right.
That's what I'm going to do. That's what I want to
I
do.
know.
That's a pretty controversial take, Dave. There's a lot of people who think demos are the foundation of a performance pistol class.
Well, I think you have to be
able to do the demo is fine, but to set it up and make some cringy Instagram reel out of it while the students are off hiding somewhere or just off screen and you're doing your third demo, no. Like I like how Ben Stoker does his demos. I know he has some controversial stuff in his classes, but he'll show you the wrong way, one or two wrong ways, and then the right way, and then he'll talk about it. I think that's a reasonable demo.
Okay.
But if you're using your demos to create highlight reels on your Instagram, I think that time could be used better in teaching or letting students shoot.
Well, I think there's a marketing component where like people see that and they're like, okay, let me take that class. That guy looks good. I also think that there's also my argument, and I don't, Josh, when I made this went over your head because you're not a sports guy. I don't know if Dave follows football, but if you take like the Patriots in football, they won, a lot of Super Bowls. I'm catching Josh up for everybody else. Tom Brady's the quarterback. Bill Belichick is the coach. He's retired. Right. Bill Belichick did not play football. I mean, did not win. I'm not saying never played football, but he did not win a Super Bowl as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he was. I don't think he was in the NFL as a player. So I'm not saying your coach is going to be like, a D class or C class or whatever, but I don't think that your coach or being able to coach somebody necessarily has to come with the performance. Like some of the performance, but not all the performance. I think if you can break things down, if you can see things, if you can understand concepts, I think that's very useful. And that could be that's a skill on its own.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But so I don't think to use your analogy, Bill Belichick had possibly the greatest quarterback ever.
But you still need to coach.
That ate up some of his decision making.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could go, but like.
Well, I know that's like saying though, taking Christian Seiler and having a D class guy coach him. Like Christian Seiler can probably work through that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a D class person.
If you have a D class guy trying to teach D class guys, I don't think the result's going to be as good.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You give Bill Belichick the Browns.
Yeah, give Bill Belichick a 12-year-old kid from youth football. I don't think he wins as many Super Bowls.
I know, Tom. I get your analogy. The being a good player and being a good coach are two separate things. I don't necessarily know if it applies to shooting, where there's a strategic team aspect in football, where understanding the strategy of the game is more important in a coaching position. I'd have to look at the career history of like an O-line coach or a D-line coach to see if there's a record there. But that would be a closer comparison for me. Is like, how are specialty coaches? What's their career look like up to that point? Like, I'd imagine it's very hard to coach an offensive line if you've never been an offensive lineman. And I think that's probably a closer analogy to shooting, where we're talking about a hyper-specific skill set in a very specific application, because there's not a ton of high-level strategy where multiple people are working together and coordinated.
Okay. Maybe, yeah.
To come flying into a technical position on a USPSA stage, like coming in an aggressive fault line and taking like a 2-yard target and then a 20-yard tux, and then just something else, say a piece of steel somewhere, to be able to execute that perfectly every time, or explain like what you need visually on those 3 different targets while you're coming in a position, is something you have to be able to do at a high level, I think, to be able to explain it to somebody, to at least give them an idea what a high level looks like. You can't not be able to perform that situation and then get somebody there through words. I don't think it's possible. I mean, unlike professional sports, I mean, we have a little bit of video now. You could maybe show it on video, but if you do it even on video, not at a high level, what are you showing them that's going to make sense to them? Like, if you can say I took 0 confirmation on the 2-yard open target, I took level 5,000 confirmation on the tux, and then level 200 confirmation on the steel, all while coming in position, all while staying low, or however you want to come in position, doesn't matter to me. But I think you need to be able to execute that on your own, on demand, before you can confidently explain it to somebody, and then be able to critique the small things that you're watching for to make the difference.
I mean, I think I could explain it in words. I think if you use a timer, you can parse out like this is what you need to do, this is what it needs to feel like, this is what you need to see, or like I don't care what you're doing, I need you to have a 20 split here.
Mm-hmm.
And the person shooting is going to shoot, and then like that's the 20 split. Okay, that was it again. Okay, that was it again. And then it's like, okay, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I just think if you're good at breaking things down and coaching in that way, I think there is a way of doing it without necessarily.
But how do you know how to get them there without ever going there? Like if they say, all right, you show me real quick, and you hand them the gun, and you go through that whole thing with .4 splits. Like to me,
No,
if
you
that
wouldn't
happens,
demo.
like,
No, it
you
wouldn't be a
lost.
demo thing. It'd be a different thing. It'd be you're putting it on
If we're on a
them.
private one-on-one and you can't, I know I just said demoing's not great, but if they were in a private one-on-one and I say do this for me just so I can see it, just so I can get a feel for it, and you can't do it, why would I trust you to be able to get me there? Or why would I trust your process to get me there?
Sure, I understand. Yeah, you'd have to
Speaking of
trust.
major matches, not my best segue, but that's all right. We'll get there. The price for the U.S. 2026 IPSC Nationals was released at $450 for the match.
What was it last year?
400.
400 flat.
And then 425 for normal nationals, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, it's ran by Bill Drummond out of the Greater Pittsburgh Gun Club. Bill Drummond, for those who are unaware, is a very well-established international shooter. He shot on the U.S. Open team for a number of consecutive years. I don't know. I'm assuming he has a gold medal at this point just from the raw numbers. But he's a very well-established shooter and has a lot of international experience. So I'm sure the match he will be bringing to the U.S. will be phenomenal. However, I don't know if it's $450 phenomenal, and this sort of follows the trend that we've seen in major matches that we've seen prices released for this year, that the prices are going up, and we understand that inflation is a factor, cost of materials is going up, and things like that. But from the shooter experience, I'm not sure what we should expect to change, or if we should expect to see anything change. Tom, I know you got to get out of here for the night, so I'll let you go first. What's your thoughts on these major match price increases, and are you looking to see anything different from the match administration in 2026?
I mean, nobody likes to pay more money. I think to me, it's like, if you win one of these matches, if this is going to be like a serious sport, like, what are you winning? You're winning a plaque, which, okay, nice, you won a plaque, but like, I feel like cash prizes should be a thing. And then the other part of it too though, like if you don't want to, go down that road or whatever, or it's not possible, like going for me going to a major is obviously like a chance to compete and compare, but it's also an experience. And so it's nice, like I, for what it's worth, like Mid-Atlantic, for example, like you get a t-shirt. Like, is it the best t-shirt you've ever worn? Like, who cares? But it says Mid-Atlantic. It has the year that you shot it. It's got this, whatever. It's a fucking t-shirt. It's not a bunch of like stickers that like sponsor stickers. Like that doesn't mean anything to me. Like I can't put Trigicon on a sticker on my box and people are like, oh, you shot, Mid-Atlantics. Like, how, So I just like something that's personalized. Like something that's personalized, at least for the shooters, be like, I was there. Like I was there. It's cool. And then, I feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, something like that. Something like, maybe lunch being included, or maybe, stuff like that. That makes the experience a little bit like worthwhile. Like, or you show me your complete breakdown of it cost $450 and this is how many competitors, this is how much money we took in, and this is where all the money went. And like I'm okay with like the range keeping some money over to because for range stuff or whatever. But like show me where you couldn't give something back to the competitors that showed like at least they were there. Like it's nice. I know it might sound corny to some people, but it's cool to get a shirt, or it's cool, it doesn't have to be a shirt, just something, an ammo bag that says, Delmarva or something like that. I don't know, whatever.
Shirts with your name on it, I'm a sucker for them. The GPA match
Sure,
had them
yeah.
this year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, name on it is. I mean, I like it. It was a little like I got a jersey from IPSC Nationals. It was extra. It wasn't counted as the match fee. If I go to IPSC Nationals next year, I will not get a jersey. I just wanted one. I wanted one that said I was there. I wish it was part of the match fee.
Just the quick numbers. Race Gun Nationals had 615 competitors. How many?
Yeah.
Josh, how many think of that as staff?
Call it 80
Okay, so
between staff and sponsor slots.
I'll just call it 100.
Yeah,
So
overestimate.
515, $25. That's almost 13 grand. Like, where's that extra 13 grand going? Just for the $25 increase.
Right, like show me. Do the targets cost that much? Do the pacers cost that much? Do the props? Like, I understand there's costs involved. I don't want to, but can you do $300 for the winner? Like, yeah, okay, it's not like life-changing money, but it's like, okay, I won $300 at Nationals. Like, that would pay for most of the match, for example, or...
Yeah, the tough part with that is Josh brought up, it's just that such a small percentage of people win. So it's like...
Right, okay.
Intriguing to... I mean, the unfortunate reality is that, especially like Nationals, almost everyone that signs up knows they're not going to win Nationals.
You could shoot a one squad Nationals and get the same outcome.
You could just run the Super Squad.
Yeah, okay. So make it an experience. We're not that kind of sport yet where people get a lot of money for winning. Make it an experience thing. Get a specialized sticker or a patch that says the range, the year, what match you shot.
I do agree with getting something. I was very disappointed with the IPSC Nationals shooter package because that was...
Well, what was there? There wasn't.
It was a sticker and a foamy keychain.
I mean, same with Area 8. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, it was a great match, but...
But then me and Josh, both matches at Thurmont, we had gift bags we got a T-shirt and then some other stuff.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds dumb, but it's cool. It's like, hey.
Yeah, at $450, I'm not expecting this, but I'd like to see at $450 it be a 3-stage, 30-stage, or 3-day, 30-stage staff reset match. In my mind, if you pull that off, I'll pay $450 for that every year. T-shirt or not. Tom has left us, so it's just Dave and I now.
Tom didn't even try and say see you later.
Oh my gosh. He doesn't love you like we love you guys.
That's right.
But I would like to see that. I know staff reset is super taboo outside of GPA and Area 6, but at $450, that's what I'd be looking to see.
Yeah, if we're paying more money, pay more staff with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The hard sell for me is it's the blind $450 that you're spending. You know where you're going and you know when you're going, but you don't know what you're getting for your $450 up front. That's the tough part for me. And then you're past, by the time you ever have a chance to see what the match is going to look like, you're past refund dates. I think Nationals already knows where they're going a year out. I don't think it's super unreasonable to have the stages laid out when registration opens.
That's interesting. That's a perspective I haven't heard before.
Sure, you could edit them. But if I look at it and say, wow, these stages blow, I'm not going.
Yeah, I don't want stand and deliver Nationals for $450.
Right, and then just thinking back to Pittsburgh, I don't know how many stages we can get. I think they had what? They had at least 2 wasted pits. They had a demo pit and a chrono pit. So you could put a couple short courses in there, I think, but how many did they have overall?
They had the rifle range that was unutilized. So there's a back berm there. They had the warm-up
No more
pit.
than 25, though, right? Because what did we shoot?
How many did we shoot? 18?
No.
It wasn't 9 and 9. What
No,
was
it was less
it?
than that.
Yeah. I mean, we can call it 15.
Don't call it anything.
14?
I'm looking it up.
Oh boy. But regardless of the
14.
restrictions, so
14.
7 and 7 each day.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of those restrictions, and IPSC's a little bit easier because they have the 3-2-1 format. So you can take some of those bigger bays and double them up on short courses to meet that requirement.
Right, but we're still not going to push 30 stages in 14 or we'll call it 17 actual pits, and maybe they throw a couple on the rifle range, however, but we're not pushing 30 stages on that place, probably.
Yeah, and I think for it to be a $450 match, I think that's what it would take. Because we just signed up for the U.S. Extreme Open, a 30-stage IPSC match in Florida for $340.
Yeah.
So there has to be a $110 quality difference here, and that's made by
after shooting the full year too. I mean, the staffing complaints we originally had were not necessarily super off par from everything. Like every match so far has had a little bit of a staffing or an officiating complaint from almost everybody. So it's not just us being dickheads, but
shout out Maryland State, best officiated match I've shot all year.
Maryland State was clean.
But $110 price difference, like there's got to be something there, and that's a for-profit company running this.
Volusia is a nice range, and Gorka's not giving that place up for free for the week for sure.
Yeah, I mean, none of these ranges are gumming out not making money on this. Like we understand this is a business. Like there is a for-profit aspect to a lot of this. Some of this is non-profit. Some of the USPSA stuff, people are volunteering, which we can dive into on a later date. But from the organizational standpoint of it, if you got to make money, that's okay. But the market for matches is going to be increasing because there's a supply and demand problem within the sport right now where there is a massive demand for people to shoot, particularly in Area 8. Area 8 on the East Coast, our matches fill up minutes, and that's just the level ones. The majors are gone almost immediately as well. Nationals had hundreds of people waitlisted immediately, crashing practice score in some instances. So there is a massive demand problem, and so these ranges are going to raise prices. They're going to increase that profit margin, and other ranges are going to take notice of that, and they're going to start to come onto the market, and we're going to start to end up with a competitive scene in the ranges and the hosting. And so there has to be a value to the shooters if that's going to be sustainable in the long run.
I mean, we talk about it lightly sometimes, but the more demand there is, if it continues on the uptrend, I think Nationals has to be probably 2 weekends. Like, there can be I'm going to Nationals to shoot Nationals the first weekend, and then just everyone else shoots the second week. I don't know what to call it, but the actual people that are competing, or just split it right in half. A through GM the second weekend, the B through U, if there's any U's that shoot Nationals the first weekend. Because there's plenty of people in there that you can fill up 2 weekends of it.
Or
they can
run
shoot
it
the same. Good.
Run it like the World Shoot. Make it, if we're charging $425 to $450, the U.S. Nationals prices have not been released to my knowledge. But I would imagine if IPSC is $450, a $500 U.S. Nationals would not surprise me.
I'd imagine so, because IPSC was cheaper last year, so I would see $475 or $500. I think would be the push.
Yeah, and if we see that, World Shoot ran 4 flights a day for 5 days for their match. I don't think that's an unreasonable pace. Even if it's not 5 days, you could run 4 flights a day, staff reset, fit more shooters into that 3-day match, and you'd be better off. That's what I'd expect to see at a $500 price.
Cut down on the props, because World Shoot had no gimmicky props that took a while to set up. Like, it was in and out on every stage. It was very easy to reset those stages. The other thing I was thinking is USPSA and US IPSC should just build a facility. They should build a facility that you can train the US team at, so they can be competitive in World Shoot, and it's got 30 pits to run Nationals every year at one spot.
That was Phil Strader's dream many years ago. Phil Strader attempted to do that. With the amount of money that's
flowing in and the price increases, just go for it.
Yep. It was blocked by the board that long ago. It was a liability concern, I believe, was the justification. But I agree with you. We're at a point now.
Just put it under another LLC if they're worried about the board being. Just fund someone else to open a range.
Yep. I agree. I think USPSA is probably big enough to justify that kind of facility.
With just the amount of cash that they probably have sitting around seems like a lot. I don't know the numbers, but just then what you could putting 3 nationals there per year, IPSC, race gun, and just factory gun, and then rent it out a whole bunch of times to the rest of you. Like put PCSL nationals there if it gets big. Put whatever you want there until whatever shooting sports you can put Steel Challenge nationals there. All those nationals throughout the country that they're spreading out all year long, just put them all in one spot and let the facility pay for itself. And then everyone's making money and you can bring prices back down.
Yeah, and I don't really see a downside to that. There are some people who are proponents of nationals traveling for match variety and things like that, but we show up to these matches, it's the same
stage designers and the same people running it.
Yeah, I don't see the downside to having a common hosting ground. All right, Dave, that's going to be our plan. We're going to go and we're going to open up the double tap nationals range.
It just makes so much sense. You build all the props, you build all the walls, you store them properly so they last for a long time. You put it somewhere that has a surplus of sand or whatever you want to make berms out of. Put it in I know Arizona's a little hot, but put it somewhere that in the spring and fall has like neutral weather or just not super hot weather, and get after it. Nationals should be at the end of the year too. They shouldn't be in June.
Yeah, let shooters get through the season. Make it a build up.
Like northern shooters are barely at a snowpack in early June, and we're running handgun nationals.
All right, man, that got derailed in all sorts of different ways. We started off with 2 topics. We ended up on like 6 different things, and we came out to people's throats on that Instagram instruction thing. Whew. All right, Dave. Anything you wanna wrap us up with?
Nah, I think I said it all. I was pretty talkative tonight. That's all I got.
Oh my gosh, look at this character development. Look at this growth arc for old Dave. All right, guys. So we have a Science of Shooting and a Science of Competition class coming up on November 15th and 16th. You can sign up for that at doubletapshootingacademy.com. We are at the point now where we might be restricting days depending on signups. So if you are on the fence about signing up, make sure you get in there quick. Reserve that spot. Make sure it's yours. And we'll see you then. Saturday is the Science of Shooting, so that's going to be focused on the hard skills. How do we build our toolbox as competitors? The 16th will be Science of Competition. How do we utilize those toolbox in a match environment, particularly in USPSA and PCSL, or any hit factor-based game. If you guys are still here with us at the end of this episode, we really do appreciate the privilege of your time. We're going to go ahead and hammer down and holster on tonight's episode.